Good evening, guys. Welcome back then again to the weekly FLR show. We are here at Circuit Zandvoort in the Netherlands for round 4 of 12 in season 9. It looks a little bit cloudy, just doesn't it? It's a very, very grey sky overhead. We're gonna have a quick round on our championship order. So Tom Goprof currently leads the standings, the driver standings, after taking P2 in every single race thus far. He is 11 points ahead of Engine, who is 3 points ahead of Hendricks, and then 1 point behind Alex Hendricks we have Rapid, and this is kind of the championship contender group right now. They have separated themselves by 17 points from Puko, who is in P5, and then you have Chichi, Josh, Barnard, Panda, who is absent today, and Marshall rounding at the top 10. Marshall shouldn't be racing anymore. He should have a lifetime ban for missing the race last week. But anyway, we have also, of course, the Constructors' Championship, in which McLaren, the team of Tom and Josh, is leading by a healthy 12 points from Racing Bulls. And after that, we got Kick Sauber, Mercedes, and Ferrari rounding out the top 5. We got quite a strong field for this one. Of course, we always have strong fields here in FLR, obviously. But this time, for the first time this season, we've got all 3 race winners racing together. So we got Who Am I, Engine and Tom Eat all in the field, the people who have won races this season. Hello, hello, and there you can see in the chat our last week's winner. And it was supposed to be a full grid tonight from what I saw earlier, and Ian serving his quali-ban there. I think he's the only one with a quali-ban. Domi would also have a quali-ban, but he decided to not attend. And as I said, it was supposed to be a full grid. It's not in the end, and that's just one of the joys of running an F1 league, isn't it? You get all these dropouts, and you know, I've been on both sides. Sometimes genuinely something does happen, and you have to step out at the last moment. But you got just these people, like for example, we got the Alpine team because the Alpines we see here. We are right now looking at the car of debutant LT, and of course in the other Alpine is our last week's winner, Who Am I. Neither of them are actually the full-time Alpine drivers, because the entire Alpine team has not turned up with a single full-time driver even once this season. So that is a lot. That is in total 8 missed attendances across both actual drivers of Alpine, and I just don't get why these people sign up. But moving on, we will stay on board with LT. As I said, our debutant for this evening. I think he's actually we've got 2 debutants. The other one is slightly tilted in the Aston. So I'll be honest, mate. I just wasn't looking in that area or even on the minimap, so I don't have an idea. We got Niemer putting in the top time with a 10.6. That's the only time thus far, and our debutant LT has unfortunately run off track, and he is taking the runoff road there. We got Barnes in the Ferrari finishing his lap, and he's got an Aston Martin flanking him. He's getting a slipstream, and he's getting a hefty slipstream indeed, because 8.8 for Tom Eat puts him 1.8 seconds on top right now. Of course, with only 4 times on the board thus far. We are now on board with Chichi in the Visa, who said previously that he's not feeling too well, but he is soldiering on right now. A little bit deep into that corner. Engine now supplants Tom Eat, but only by the skin of his teeth. And we also saw that Tom Eat got a little bit of dirty air from Barnes in the last corner, so he will surely be improving. Josh now in P3, was briefly Chichi now in P3, but so far we got 2 people in the 8s and no one else in the 9s even. Tom GoProf, who is the other person you would expect in the 9 or in the 8s possibly, is in the pits still, but we got Rapid setting off on his attempt. Of course, as I said at the start, another one of the championship contenders. He's got a Haas ahead of him, who is Rusty Olkan, who just finished his lap. Actually, I don't know why I needed to think about it. There's only one Haas here tonight. So Rapid is starting his lap, and surely Rusty will be needing to move out the way. He does so very, very nicely. Rapid now, actually, it's been a while since I've seen this track, so I'm just gonna pull up a map because I don't actually know the corner numbers. But I know the name of this corner, it's Scheivlak. This very long winding right. Rapid kept it flat, and unfortunately it didn't work for him. He is now having, and actually of interest, Who Am I is literal 1,000th of a second behind Engine after those early runs so far, and Rapid having to make his way back through some rough seas just to make it back on the track, and those tires are gonna be destroyed. I wonder if he's just gonna pull into the pits. He has saved his batteries. I think he can go again. I mean, obviously he's gonna go. He's gonna know better than me if his tires are still viable for another lap, and he thinks they are. So we're gonna stay on board with him. Through sector 1, the car feeling a little bit snappy, so perhaps these tires are not as good as he thought they were. Approaching Scheivlak again. He did this nicely last time. He's 4.5 tenths down almost. Actually closer to 4 tenths, but yeah. Now this is the part where he messed up last time. He does it better this time, a lot better. So he's probably just gonna keep it going as a bunker lap, and the next one is gonna be much better when he goes onto a fresher set of tires. Climbing the curb, that curb often very, very rough, but also you not really need to use it. And now only one corner remains, the car just seeming a little bit nervous. Out of the last corner, he has a lot of battery left there. I think he could have burnt even more on that lap, but as I said, it's probably just gonna be a bunker. He actually hits the white line, which is gonna slow him down, but it's P4 anyway, and in the 9s. Puko has also got himself on the board, so yeah. He's there as well. Obviously, I said previously, Puko could be a championship contender. The only reason he's that far off the lead group is because he missed last week. So now I wonder if there's anything interesting going on. We got Spartan, who is relatively new to the game, especially compared against our seasoned drivers. So he's just looking to improve week by week, obviously also missing last week due to work, I believe. He also clipped the curb a little bit, which would cost him time, but he's 4.5 tenths up on his previous best. Second gear, perhaps a little bit low, but he's getting it done so far. A little bit of grass on the right front tire there. And out of the last corner, he's taking a little bit of a high line there. I think just steering too much, just losing time from putting too much steering in. It's gonna be a 3.5 tenth improvement, so losing a little bit of time in the last sector. Alex Hendricks, one of only 2 people without the time who are eligible to set the time. Dalvisa pulls out of the way very nicely. Alex Hendricks climbing over that curb on the inside there quite a lot, but it didn't seem to impact him. He's staying far away from the white line. It's gonna be in the 9s. It's gonna be a 9.7 in P8. Obviously Alex Hendricks so far proving himself a very consistent driver. Last week I gave him driver of the day. It was his best, most consistent performance so far. So let's see if it was a one-time thing just because he likes Imola, or if he's gonna be able to follow it up. We're now gonna go on board with Tomid, obviously our reserve, who is unbeaten this season. He won the preseason race and then he won round 1, and this is the next race that he's doing with us. So let's see what kind of lap he can produce, provided that he doesn't get caught in dirty air again in the last sector. Swinging the car, just lifting off the throttle, immediately back on the throttle. Does appear that he is gelled with the car right now. $11,000 up, purple in the first sector, a little bit of actually battery usage in Scheivlag, like literally in that right hand corner, which is a bit mad, but he knows what he's doing. Using all of the track, getting very close to that inside curb but not touching it. Now using the exit curb, using a little bit of battery again. Let's see what's the second sector split. 1.5 tenths up, and that's still approaching the last sector, which is where he probably lost the most time. Again, a little bit of gas on the right front tire, but that's not gonna affect things. Sending it into the last corner, very wide line there. And now the battery is going to be fully deployed to the line. This should be the fastest time of the session thus far. It's an 8.598, 2.5 tenths of improvement, of which about a tenth and 30 thousandths was in the last sector. And that is the benchmark that everyone else will be chasing. We got Tommy's nearest rival at the moment, Engine, in the Kick Sauber. Obviously, Engine, the only full-time driver to win a race this season thus far, which was in Las Vegas. He's approaching a little bit of traffic there. There is a Ferrari which should be getting out of the way. And they are getting out of the way, but I think that could have been a little bit of a distraction. Obviously, some drivers, including myself, are just really prone to visual distractions like that, and some can really lock in and not let that get to them. A little bit of a slippy sector 3 from engine. I can't tell whether that was from the distraction or just pushing the car that much too hard. It's gonna be at 8.7, a minor improvement, 68 thousandths of improvement there. When I was actually on a lap behind engine as well. He's taking a little bit of a tighter line than say Tom Ead did in that last corner. Let's see if this is the fastest lap of the session thus far, and it is an 8.4 from Tom Ead, who am I? So that currently sees him 1.5 tenths ahead of Tom Ead. And we also got Tom, so the fastest guys just finishing the laps in quick succession. Let's see if this will be enough. I don't think it's gonna be even in the 8s. Actually it is just about, but it's barely in the 8s. So Tom GoPro, the championship leader and previously two-time champion, has to find some more pace at his home track. Rapid, so another of the fastest drivers finishing his lap, and he just clambered over that curb too much, and that's gonna be in the wall, close to the wall, not in the wall, but anyway, the lap is gone and he's gonna pit. So Rapid having a little bit of a scruffy session thus far. Just running into curbs, into gravel, and into grass. He still has a valid time on the board, obviously in the top 5, but he's got 3 guys within half a tenth of him, of which Puko might be ahead now, given how he's tracking to improve, and he does improve. Creeping close to the 8, 5 minutes left in the session. Even though the skies are grey, I don't expect any rain. I don't think we are there. I don't think we are in that area in terms of weather. A lot of people in the pits obviously prepping for the last round. We got Josh finishing his lap right now. To the line, I think he was very conservative with his battery. He's got quite a lot of it left. 2 times improvement up to the top 10, not bad from the McLaren. We got LT, who we saw go off earlier. So let's see what the Alpine Reserve can do. 4th gear on the power, using the battery, using the DRS obviously. 2.5 tenths of improvement, actually closer to 3 tenths of improvement, taking that curb quite aggressively there, but not unsettling the car. Clipping a little bit of grass, which we've seen countless times by now in this session. Avoiding the curb on the inside of the last corner. He's gonna keep that car to the right, then go in the middle just to avoid hitting that white line. Battery deployed, 3 tenths of improvement, up to P14. We got Puko, but I don't believe this is an actual representative hot lap. So we've actually got no one on a hot lap right now. Rusty, which we actually saw him do a similar thing last week. He was one of the first to go for his final run, so he kind of likes doing this off sequence with everyone else. So we'll see what the Haas driver can do. Actually, we got Spartan on a lap ahead of him. So we're gonna give Spartan a little bit of a spotlight as he now exits turn 3. And I would personally use a little bit, I would switch on the overtake a little bit earlier. And he did his lost time as he now comes through Shivlak. He is keeping it in 7th gear, now downshifts to 6. As he comes towards turn 8. Now approaching the hard left of turn 10. I don't think he was opening up the track optimally there. On the power, approaching turn 11, which is the beginning of sector 3. 18 thousandths down, so he clearly recovered time in sector 2. Very quick through the gears. A little bit hesitant on throttle. Coming to the final corner in 5th gear, up to 6th, up to 7th now, and now the final run to the line. The battery is deployed. We'll see if there's going to be an improvement, half a tenth of improvement there. We got Rusty now finishing his lap. He was also down on the 2nd sector split, but he improves 2 tenths, so that sees him into the top 10. And as Ian actually pointed out last week, Rusty has been steadily improving since the beginning of this season. Something has just been clicking for him. We got Ben up next to start the lap, and after that I think it will be Puko. And actually Puko is on an out lap. That will be Nimra. Nimra is there behind Ben. So we're gonna go on board with the reigning driver of the season for the start of his lap. Hard on the brakes at about 60 meters before the corner, now turning into turn 1. On the battery, turning off the battery, keeping it in hot lap, 5th gear, a little bit of a touch of the brake. Now gradually just getting on the throttle on the battery again. Now coming to this section, which is actually, fun fact, it's actually counted as 3 corners, that section. I mean, it's always kind of a straight in my head, but alright. I mean, the track designers have more say on that than me. Now through turn 9 and into turn 10. Careful not to clip that inside curb, careful not to also get caught up on the outside curb too much. That should be sector 2 finished nicely. 19 thousandths up, purple sector. I don't think that is true unless Ben is just actually a master and that's at the second sector. But he isn't at the third sector because he just had a snap of the rear end. This should be his final run of the session. It will be his final run of the session. There is no way he can go with no battery. And it's actually no improvement. So that didn't work for Ben. But it was a good effort with how much he was throwing the car around. We got Nimra at the exit of the last corner. And I think actually we got... No. Nimra is now finishing his lap. 16,000 of improvement, so just a little bit there. We got people starting their laps. The time is ticking down. Who Am I goes fastest, 8.3. Let's see if anyone can respond to that. We got Engine, obviously the only kick on track, and he has gone purple, which I think is actually real purple, in sector 2 through the last corner, sending it over the inside curb. Battery fully deployed in the middle of the track, trying to get the most out of it, and it's just gonna be about half a tenth short. We got Puko now to the line, battery also deployed, 9.4. There's no improvement there from Puko. Alex Hendricks, one of the next cars to cross the line. He improves. Tom was down, and from that weaving there, I don't think he was gonna improve. I don't think he was happy with it either. Rapid has invalidated, and Tommy does not improve. I don't think anyone can challenge Who Am I anymore, although we got Barnes tracking nicely. Of course, he's not in the same realm as Who Am I, but he will improve nicely in his own part of the grid. He was half a second up and actually improves to 8.5 seconds up. He was only 2 thousandths away from getting into the 9s. And that should be everyone now done. Obviously, Niemra was not on a flyer. So Who Am I? We have Who Am I on pole. We got Who Am I on pole for the second week running. And we got the expected company at the head of the grid. We got our 3 race winners this season in the top 3 positions. Then we got the championship leader in 4th. And then we got the outside championship runners, Puko and Rapid, behind them in P5 and P6. So actually everything as you expect. Although a shout out to our debutant Slightly Tilted, who was only a thousandth of a second away from snatching Rapid's position. So Tilted could yet establish himself as part of that front pack. Now, provided everything goes to plan, we're gonna go into our customary 5-minute break. And then there's gonna be a formation lap, and then we're gonna be into the action. I'm just gonna click through the quali results. I'm just gonna go through the grid again on the formation lap. I'm kind of worried with how long it's loading. Okay, I wasn't even gonna get the quali results for reasons, I guess. So I couldn't even read through them. So my point was moot. I love you too, Spray. Hello, good evening. Yeah, I mean, an SC definitely not out of the question, as we saw in CDR. Quite a few SCs on this track there. It's not the easiest of tracks, but very enjoyable when you do get it right. We are on the way for the formation lap then, and I'm gonna go through the whole grid because I couldn't earlier. So we're gonna start from the bottom. So we got Ian with a quali ban, then we got Spartan, Ralphie, LT, our debutant, Nimra, who has taken the full-time seat at Williams, Barnards, Rusty, and Josh. Those are the people outside the top 10. Then we got Alex Hendrick, Chichi, Welsh Benjamin, slightly tilted, Rappi. Those are the positions from 6th to 10th. And then in the top 5 we got Puko, Tongo Prof, Tommy, Engine, and our positor Who Am I. We've got a quite nice split between hards and mediums as the starting tire, and then we got LT, who has opted for the softs. So just some information on Zandvoort. It's borderline impossible to do a one-stop here in the dry. It is technically possible, but you have to save your tires so much that you may just as well do a a two-stop, because the pit lane is just one of the shortest pit lanes on the calendar. And Chichi and Nimra, I think, have just come together. So yeah, I would be very surprised if anyone even goes for a one-stop. And I would be much more surprised than that if anyone pulls off a one-stop. But we're only gonna know at the end of the 36 laps here. So the cars are lined up. I'm probably gonna get a horrendous angle for the start. I think everyone's parked up nicely. Ian is quite far behind. Engine and Chichi have got disqualified, now Ben as well for parking incorrectly, and Josh also, and Spartan also. Ian is like 10 seconds behind everyone, so I don't know what's going on there. But we'll see how this plays out. We got Who Am I on the hards. The next 4 people on the mediums, we'll see if he will be able to hold off the pack behind him at the start. I'm just going to get this off for now. 5 laps are on and 5 laps are out. A little bit of ghosting, which is common. Actually, Who Am I, very nice starts on the hards. Engine is going to try to stick it on his inside, but Who Am I is going to have a clear lead. There is an Aston Martin tasting a little bit of gravel there on his left side wheels. And Who Am I leads on the hards. Tom Eat attacking Engine, but Engine is not going to let him go alongside. We got a little bit of jostling in the midfield. Seems like everyone has gone through cleanly, slightly tilted. He was Aston Martin who was off, so he has lost 7 places already. Fighting with Barnard, trying to retake one of those places. We got someone off, and that is actually slightly tilted, so now he's lost 11 places. I don't know what happened there. Everyone else, I think, safe thus far. We got Josh attempting to get alongside Rusty, but ultimately he wasn't able to, and we got LT with a massive dive bomb on Josh, but he actually kept on track. He actually, I don't think he even touched the gravel there, so that was a nice move. Obviously he's the only person on the grid on the softs, so he does have the minerals to go for moves like that right now. And that is another position made up for him. Who Am I says the fastest lap. We got Tom E tucking on the inside of Engine. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, side put to side put, more like, I think, actually. And Tommy does get the position. It was a bit of a scruffy move, but I don't think it was over the line. He does make up the position on Engine, and then gets a major snap immediately coming out of turn 3. But Hoss continues to hold onto the position. Alex Hendricks, as we know him, very successful in terms of lap 1. He has made up 2 positions this time around as well. We got Barnes now fighting with Josh and actually gaining that position, so Josh is losing places early doors. And we got a spin there from Spartan, so unfortunately that's gonna be to the back for the Red Bull. We just about caught that. The rear end just drifted away from him as he went through turns 9 and 10, or lead that turn 8, 9, 10 sequence. We're just gonna have a quick look at position changes. So we got LT, the biggest mover right now, obviously on softs, gaining 4 positions. As Tom Eat is eyeing up a move on Who Am I, but he's just not close enough to make that right now. We got LT, the primary mover, with 4 places gained on the softs. Then we got a couple people gaining 2 positions, and those are Alex Hendricks and Rusty Olkan. And Tilted, the massive loser, with 9, and Josh losing 2, which we both saw. Josh just being overly conservative, I would say, in those early laps. Who Am I actually pulling out a little bit more of a gap on Tom Eat through this sector 2. So I'm just wondering if the mediums are falling off already, or if this is just the raw pace of Who Am I right now. Tom GoPro on the back of Engine, or trying to get on the back of Engine, more like. Just have a quick ERS check. Tom clipping a little bit of grass on the exit, but he still managed to get closer to Engine than he was before, and I think he is gonna go for this move this time. But also I want to point out the yellow fuel light on Tom, which is appearing and disappearing. So he is teetering on the edge of, he's basically swapping between being in the green and being in the red on the fuel. I'm just gonna quickly go, there's a little bit more battles here. We got Rusty side by side with LT actually. Through turn 2, and Rusty is just about gonna back out there. He's also gonna clip a little bit of gravel, but I think it was a smart move by Rusty. If he's stuck in there any longer than that, if he stuck there a split second longer, I think he was losing his front wing. So that was a sound decision by him. Tommy just not able to mount an attack on Who Am I, who seems to be in his element right now. So Who Am I having a little bit of a different approach than he did last week. Last week he basically let himself be dropped by Tom in favor of saving tires. But I think the difference is in Imola there are benefits to doing a one stop. Here, not really. You might as well push the tires. Everyone is making two stops. It doesn't really matter. So you can push early on, you can push in the middle, you can push at the end. Tomko Prof having an attack on engine, he's gonna back out of that. We got Alex Hendricks making a move on Welsh Benjamin down that main straight as well. So Alex Hendricks gaining another position. As I said, Alex Hendricks, we already know him for gaining positions in races basically. Barnett also making a move on Rusty Olkan, and actually Rusty Olkan second lap in a row that he's fighting through this section, but this time he is the car with the more favorable positioning and he is ahead. He goes a little bit wide though, so that can give Barnes a chance to attack back, but Barnes himself actually clips grass there through turn 5 or turn 4, whichever one that was, and he was not able to challenge back. We've got a little bit of a split forming in that LT on the softs, and we've got a spin for Nimra. We got a spin from Nimra in the same sequence where Spartan spun earlier on. So we got a little bit of a break forming in that LT has gained positions at the start, but now his softs are fading and he might hold up the cars behind him. We're gonna go on board with Chichi to see if he can have a run on Welsh Benjamin. He is running low on battery, but I think so is Welsh Benjamin, and Chichi is gonna go for it into turn 1. They're gonna be side by side. You can see the Red Bull there. So the cars from the same family are going alongside each other, and Ben is not gonna fight that too hard. Chichi up to P8, and up next Alex Hendricks. This is actually one of the most painful places in terms of their tier on the whole game, through Scheivlak and through the sequence afterwards. But Tommy is managing to hang on to Who Am I quite nicely. We got Josh making a move on Barnes, which I think was a mistake from Barnes because he's really far behind Josh now. And I think LT's softs are gonna be fading at this point. Josh is actually gonna line up a move on Rusty. He's not quite alongside him there, and he's not gonna be able to get alongside him there as they go into turn 10, turn 11 actually. But now Josh just gets a much better exit, and I think this should be the move done, depending on if Rusty is gonna back out of that, and he does back out. And now Josh should have a shot on LT, but that will be on the next lap because he was too far behind on that occasion. We'll see if Rusty will be able to come back, but no, Rusty switches to no deployment, and he wasn't looking to challenge Josh back. We'll see Rusty, the only person between 10th and 17th place, between 10th and 16th place that is on mediums right now. So he will have to recognize that the hards are just becoming better at this phase in the stint. I don't know why Josh was pulling kind of to the left there, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Josh clipping a little bit of grass through Scheivlak. Now as he heads through turn 7, he's trying to stay as close to the soft shot Alpine as he can. And he can attack either in this DRS zone or on the main state. I don't think he is attacking here though. Now into sector 3, you can see LT really struggling on the soft tire. He's losing tenths to Ben per lap. We got Tom Goprov getting a move done on Engine down the last straight, and that was because Engine had lost the DRS ahead. So that was an easy move down the main straight, we could assume. Now Josh is gonna make a move on LT. LT moves to the right side of the straight to defend this one. We can see there is quite a massive pack of cars behind them who are shortly gonna be descending onto LT like vultures. But Josh actually unable to make a move on that occasion, and once again getting another shot of that chain behind them. There are 7 cars in that chain. LT getting a little bit loose on the exit, but Josh just unable to take advantage. I think Josh is being a little bit too conservative at the moment. You can see how much battery he has compared to everyone around him. Just some examples there. And actually it doesn't really take long for tires to get really worn, especially on the left side on this track. So LT softs might as well be close to puncture territory right now. Rusty's mediums definitely worn. He has just lost another position to Barnard's. Barnard's Ferrari in the background. Actually, Barnard's nearly clattered into the diffuser of Josh under braking for 10-11, but no harm done. Another lap, another opportunity for Josh. He nearly was able to get to the right side of LT as it came out of the last corner. And now Josh is going to deploy battery. We've got a spin, and that is for Ian. I think that was more of a half spin. That yellow flag did not take long, and there is contact between LT and Josh. I think it was just an unfortunate incident where both cars were steering to the same piece of the tarmac, basically. But stewards will look at that further if necessary. LT taking his time to get back on track. And Josh in P10, but all of that has lost him 7.6 seconds to the next car ahead. Barnes actually picks up a 3-second time penalty, which I don't know how he's managed that, but I think it was kind of true turn 7. There is kind of a piece of a curb which you can cut, and you can sometimes cut it too much and just pick up the penalty. The other spot where that can happen is the one he just went over, which is at 10-11. There you can also cut it too much sometimes. Tomit is not letting Who Am I get away from him right now. And I think we can actually expect first pit stop shortly. Just really interested to see how Tom manages this fuel, because we saw his fuel light flickering earlier. And now it's just on constantly. So that would just indicate that Tom is losing fuel rather than gaining it. So he would probably need a safety car. I think he might be in trouble if there's not one. We got Rapid now on the back of Engine. So just like it was the case last week, Engine seems oddly off in terms of race pace here at Zandvoort. We think actually just the same as it was with Imola. This is the first time we see Engine drive at Zandvoort this game, because he missed it last season. So it's interesting that he does not seem to have good race pace. Obviously for his standards, he's still in P4. To have good race pace on either of these tracks. We got Tomit, Engine, Rapid, all in the pits. Interesting for Rapid, given he's on harder tires than those other two. Puko also into the pits, so clearly this is where people start to get close to puncture territory, possibly. Where's Benjamin being very, very really careful into the pits. We'll see if anyone else will peel off. We got actually no one from the midfield seems to have peeled off. And Nimra continuing to stay out. Actually, LT was already in on the previous lap. I must have missed that. So he's on hards for the second stint. We'll see how the undercut from Tom Ead is. Tom Ead has got 9 seconds worth of clean air ahead of him right now. So he's not getting affected. It's just a pure pace contest between himself and Who Am I, and Who Am I's older tires. And Tom Ead has already made 6 tenths, 7 tenths, close to 8 tenths up onto Who Am I. It might be close for the race late. Who Am I, you could see he was burning battery. He was trying really, really hard to not lose time on that lap. and we'll see how it's gonna shake out. Tom will probably gonna be in the pits. Alex Hendricks, he might stay out here. He's on the hards. Yes, he does stay out. And Chichi also does stay out, which is more surprising considering he is on the mediums. We're gonna go on board with Tom Ead as he goes onto the straight to begin his 12th lap, and we'll see where he will converge with Who Am I. Who Am I there on the pit exit, and Who Am I actually clears him pretty well. Actually, Who Am I gained time on that overcut, so I think Tom Ead could have lost time on pit entry maybe, or on pit exit, but either way he lost ground, and quite sizable ground at that. We also see at the bottom of the order, you can see that the midfield, a lot of the midfield also pitting on that lap. We got Josh onto fresh hards, and then Barnas, Rusty, Ian all onto fresh mediums, which is quite a bold strategy, quite a bold tire allocation choice from Rusty, I must say, because you can see that he has gone for balance allocation rather than hard, as this is his second set of mediums. Alex Hendrick and Chichi should be in on this lap, at least Chichi should be. So we are now on board with the Visa driver. We'll see if he'll be peeling off to the right. Actually, no. So I think he's saved his tires, and I think he is just staying out as long as he has DRS to help him. So these guys going long into the race. Again, as I said, two-stop borderline impossible, but not totally unheard of. We got also on starting tires, still out on starting tires, we got Slightly Tilted, Nimra, and Spartan. Those are the other people who are still out on their starting tire. Chichi has lost DRS. Chichi has lost DRS. He has a lot of grass on his right front tire, so I think he could have had a slide off somewhere, just running a little bit offline, and I think that's just gonna hamper him. He is losing a lot of time. He's now 1.7 behind, and Who Am I is actually gonna benefit, get DRS here. So Chichi here, I think it will be in his best interest to pit. I think those tires are really struggling. He's gonna take over the 2-second mark, so he's lost like over a second on just this one racing lap only. And indeed he's gonna be in the pits, and that is actually very beneficial. Who Am I, who sets the fastest lap of the race with a little bit of DRS assistance from Chichi. Tom beats that, himself having DRS on engine, and these guys are now battling again. Not the first time they've done this season, and probably not the last, but engine remaining ahead on this occasion. Tom also clipping a little bit of the curb on that inside. And coming out of turn 3 is the kick that remains out in front, and the home hero remains behind him. Nimra and Spartan have just come together on the pit entry, and I think they both got 10 seconds. It flashed over so quickly that for a split second I saw Spartan, 10-second time penalty for collision with Spartan, and I was like, what the hell is happening? And yeah, they go both 10 seconds. I think I've seen this before on this exact track on pit entry. I think the game is overly harsh with that. I think they just converge while pitting. Unfortunately, since it's a two-stop, they will have to serve that at the next stop, and I don't think it's gonna get removed. We got Alex Hendricks, who I think will be peeling off on this lap, so as I predicted, no one is on a one-stop. Alex Hendricks into the pits, we'll see where he filters out. And we're not gonna go switch to Tom, who will be having another attempt on engine. This time he brakes that little bit later, and this time Tom manages to get the position. You see these guys, the only former FLR champions in the field, so they know how to race clearly, and they know how to race at the front. Tom setting a purple sector as well with the help of the DRS. And now Tom will be setting off after the other Tom. So this battle group has been reduced a little bit after the pit stop cycle, obviously with people pitting on different laps. they didn't manage to stay in the chain, or on the flip side they broke away from the chain. But we still got 4 people in the DRS chain, which is Rusty, and then behind him he's got Tilted, Marshall, and Ralphie as well. Tilted having the benefit of having the freshest tires in this chain, so we'll see if he will attack. Rusty having the slightest of slides at the exit of that corner, and also taking a lot of that outside curb, and Tilted is actually gonna be alongside him very early in the straight. Is gonna make the pass, complete the pass fully. I think he actually clipped a little bit of grass there under braking with his left side tire, but he did nicely to keep that on the road. And Tilted continuing his recovery from the opening lap, the Baku. It's the second week running that we've had an Aston making a recovery after a lap 1 loss of positions. And he's left Rusty in his dust. Actually, he's so far out that I don't think he's getting his dust anymore. So Tilted really pushing that gas pedal hard on this lap. And Marshall is up next to strike at Rusty. But he's not that close. The chain is getting a little bit more spaced out. There is around an 8-10 gap between each of these guys. So it just depends what Ian has in his locker. And I think the speed difference is gonna be huge, and I think he will be able to make this move actually on the fellow Ferrari powered car. Rusty tried to brake late and hung it around the outside, but Ian just had a lot of overspeed, and I don't think Rusty really stood a chance. So Rusty down another position, Ian up to P13, thus far 5 up from his quali ban. And he said before in chat that he was happy if he could get to top 14, and now he is only 1 away from to the top 12. The skies are a little bit grey, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think we're expecting any rain. We're also gonna have Slightly Tilted make a move on the Ferrari of Barnard's, and he should be clear of him into 10-11, but Barnes is now gonna get the opportunity to strike back with DRS. But Tilted just getting really good exits right now for these past couple laps. It's gonna make it hard for Barnes to challenge him back. Barnes has used all his battery, nearly all of his battery, just to get back, and he's just not gonna be able to brake late enough. He's also gonna clamber over the inside curb and lose momentum, and not able to re-challenge Tilted. So Tilted up into P11. Who am I continuing to set pace out in front? The gap now 4.2 over Tom Eade. And now Tom Eade being threatened by the other Tom in the field, Tongo Prof. But then don't forget, just look at the bottom of the screen, Tongo Prof still has the flashing fuel light, so surely he'll be thinking about managing that, and he's not going for that move right now. That could be part of his fuel saving strategy, but in doing that, in not going for the move, he's ensuring that engine is staying close behind them in the RS. And no one else apart from Tom really has fuel problems. I think I also saw the fuel light flash briefly on Marshall earlier. But Marshall has mostly been in the RS. He's not in the RS right now, as we have some contact between Rusty and Ralphie coming out to the last corner. You could see that Rusty's in-game avatar raised his hand basically, which indicates that contact had been made. I didn't catch the beginning of that, just the end. So I don't know what went on there. Rusty not looking as confident as he had done in the previous stint. Seems like the car is getting away from him a little bit, but he's continuing to fight with everything that he's got. Ralphie himself a little bit wayward in the dirty air there. It's not the first time this season. It's not the first time this season that one of the most interesting battles has been at the front, as Ralphie actually gets past Rusty on that short at the arrest straight, and actually I didn't catch it there on that occasion. So apologies there. Togoprof trying to stick as close to the back of Tom Eat as he can. And Tom Eat actually clipping grass. And Tom Eat was very, very close to getting fully off track there. It was very nice control to not go off track there after he clipped grass. Now Tom losing the rear end. But Engine was not able to get there in time. He was not able to get alongside it. You could see that Tom is again flashing that yellow fuel light. So he is flirting with the danger of running out. Short shifting to third, he has 100% battery. It's gonna be another attack attempt on the main straight on this occasion. He has got a lock on target and he's past his target. But Tom Eat is gonna try to re-challenge. A little bit of a clip of wheels, but nothing major. And now Tom is ahead of Tom. As we head through turn 2 and turn 3, just looking backwards at the Aston Martin. And Tom Eat just doesn't have the battery to come back, I don't think. He's now going to be under pressure from Engine, who has managed to save up a little bit while he was behind these two fighting. So that mistake on the previous lap from Tom Eat, where he clipped grass and nearly went off track, just costing him dearly. But he's staying in the RS and he's not looking likely to fall out of it, so it's likely that Engine won't be able to make this pass and follow Tongo Prof through. Right now these are the only guys who are in the RS range of anyone. Basically Tom Eat and Engine, the only people on the grid in the RS right now. You can see that Tom Eat was trying his best to re-challenge Tom, but he was just not able to get alongside him under braking. And Togo Pro just right now holding the track position and also a tire advantage as well. Off one lap, but it's always a tire advantage. We see how this battle develops. Tongo Prof just pulling out a little bit of a gap right now to this section. We also have Josh creeping into the 1 second window of Benjamin. He's flirting with the DRS there in the midfield, but just not able to get in there for the time being. He is now in there, is Josh. Now 9.5 tenths, now he's out again. So Josh really close to getting DRS off of Welsh Benjamin. Tongo Prof is pulling a little bit of a gap on Tom Eat. Engine is using battery, and actually I lied earlier, or rather I was wrong. We do have rain, I can clearly see droplets right now. So this isn't really good for the medium runners, because they are gonna be getting close to the puncture territory pretty soon. And then they might have to go to inters a little bit too early. Engine losing the rear end, and also this is the last call to get moves done. It's gonna be a lot harder without DRS. Josh actually fell out of Ben's DRS again, but one person who is in DRS is Marshall, and that is in the DRS of Barnals of the Ferrari. We got a spin, and that is gonna be Spartan in P17, and we got pit stops. I think the track has gone wet very quickly, and I think these boys are going to be going onto the inters right now. And indeed, you can see the green tire there, Barnard's being the first to go on it, and I think Ian is going to follow suit. And you can see the green boots going onto the green car. Same for Ralphie, same for Rassi as well. I think it's going to be same for Spartan. Actually, he stayed out. LT spits into the pits, and I think that was on his way to also get the inters. And actually, I think he's gonna double stack his race leading teammate. This is actually huge. And he's also serving some kind of penalty, or I think he just didn't press the release in time. and the RS is disabled immediately. So actually the medium runners not coming out to bat, but someone who came out way worse off is Who Am I, who lost 6 seconds as Spartan, I believe, has spun again. Obviously he's one of the only people still on 6 right now. Everyone is cycling through the pits and moving on to the inters as we speak. Who Am I losing a 6-second lead, and now he's got Tom Koprov right behind him, but crucially he has not lost the position. And provided that his space is still good in these conditions, and Spartan has just been disqualified for doing what the... Did I just see what I saw there? Okay, his car has disappeared now, but leaders had to take evasive action to basically avoid a car which was being retired by the game, not by the driver. Which was quite dangerous, but they had good reflexes, so they managed to get through unscathed. We got LT letting the leaders pass under blue flags there, I believe. From what I'm seeing in the Discord, I think Spartan's car got beached, which is unfortunate, but just in case you're also listening to the stream for the future, if your car gets beached, you are allowed to reset to track, to use the reset to track function. That's the only scenario in which you are allowed to use that function. We do not want anyone getting disqualified for getting pitched like it happened there. Who Am I is now coming up to the next of the traffic, which is going to be Nimra, who is soldering on in P16, and Nimra moves over very nicely, actually not impacting the race of Who Am I in any way. Togoprov getting a little bit wayward, he's going to drive straight through Nimra. Alright, bro. Yeah, Tom touched a little bit of the wet curb in the corner before. He got a little bit loose, but no major harm done. He's fighting with the car, fighting to make it go straight. And Who Am I is just driving away from him right now. 11 laps to go. And Who Am I looks to be in prime position for a second victory in a row. We got Tommy still on the back of Tom. We got Alex Hendricks on the back of Puko. Alex Hendricks looking to be excelling in those wet conditions. Obviously Alex Hendricks a very consistent driver from our short time knowing him here in FLR. He's following Puko, that special livery Williams through turns 2 and 3. Well, yeah, it's basically the excitement seems to have departed when the rain came, sorry. That is just down to the RS being disabled. It's not easy to make moves on this track without it. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. I think whoever caused it got going quickly. I think it was just a half spin. Maybe it was Barnard's. Or maybe it was engine. I'm not quite sure actually. Not engine. I didn't mean engine. Engine was in another part of the track. But moving on. We're still on board with Nimra, who has just been lapped by engine. That's where engine actually is on track. Tom Koprov has managed to close up to Who Am I in these wet and worsening conditions, but catching is one thing, passing is another, as goes the old F1 saying. the racing saying in general. Obviously, Tongo Prof has only finished in P2 this season, which has given him the championship lead, but obviously that's not what champions want. And obviously there is no place better for standing on top of the podium than your home race, your home ground. LT has retired somewhere. Actually, he's retired on track. He's retired on track. That is not allowed. He has retired on track. You can see him going through Shyblack right now. There you can see. So that was a manual retirement. He didn't even come back to the pits. He just pressed retire from session in the menu. Interesting behavior. So that leaves one Alpine in the race, and that is the race leader, Who Am I? He's under pressure from Tongo Prof, but we know already that Who Am I is very collected under pressure. He weathered a lot of it last week, and now he's weathering both the pressure and the weather itself. There's more yellows. There's something going on in sector 1. I think Tilted had a mini moment. Yeah, as I was saying, really hard to make moves here or to even set up moves without DRS being enabled. Because you need a lot. You basically need a massive speed differential to make a move here. The straights are not that long, and then the corners are profiled in such a way that you just can't stay close to anyone unless you have a tire advantage. And with everyone pitting at the same time for those inters, there is no significant tire advantage to be seen in any parts of the field. Tongo Prof having to collect the car continuously. The rear end just looking quite lively in the wet. Yeah, I would like to show everyone a little bit more action, but we just don't have any anywhere right now. The closest we have to action right now is the fact that both McLarens are on the back of someone, and we also got Alex Hendricks on the back of Puko, but that has been the case for a few laps and he's not managed to make any further inroads than that. Now Tongo Prof has fallen over a second behind Who Am I. He's now back in. It's not looking likely to make that move on Who Am I. Seven laps to go. The leaders are currently nearing the halfway point of their 30th lap. With Alex Hendricks still on the back of Puko as we saw him before. Puko is fighting with the rear of the car, basically in these conditions, but he is not opening the door. He is not leaving any opening for Alex Hendricks to attack him. So some good driving from Puko right now. Clattering that curb. Now losing the front for a change as he heads through turn 8. Now he's in turn 10. And Alex Hendricks is just not able to get closer to him than about half a second. Alex Hendricks braking later into turn 11, but then again losing on exits as they now approach the last corner. And Alex Hendricks is looking for an opening, but still no major mistakes from Puko. Now the yellow fuel light is also starting to flicker for Alex Hendricks. So it's also gonna have to be mindful of that, or actually no, because TG is 16 seconds behind. I forgot about that. So it actually doesn't really matter. He can run out of fuel in sector 2 on the last lap and still make it ahead of TG. So he can show all his resources at trying to make this move, but it just doesn't look like he's gonna be able to get any closer. 4 turns away from Puko, which is the closest he's been so far, but just not able to make a move. The leaders are approaching more lap traffic, which is going to be Rusty in P15, and then up next, Ralphie in P14. Huamai seems to have this one in the back. He has managed this race from start to finish. Togoprov struggling with the traction. Obviously the track is already wet, the track is already cold, and now with every next lap that this drive is complete, one more thing that we're going to be adding to the challenge is going to be tire wear. Those inters are not as fresh as they were when they put them on 8 laps ago. As Tom makes his way by Rusty. Up next to be lapped is Ralphie, who is only several car lengths ahead. Time is running out. We're now gonna start lap 33, which is the 4th to last. The Ferrari of Ralphie letting the leaders pass him very politely. Alex Hendricks getting ever closer to Puko, but he's running out of time to make a move. He was briefly 3.5 turns away. He will try to stay close to the last corner. I think this is the closest he's been. Obviously, one also thing contributing to the difficulty of passing in the wet is the fact the batteries recharge very, very quickly. And Puka actually has a little bit of a slide, and then he has another slide. But once again, Hendricks just not able to get alongside him and take that P6 away. He's trying a lot of different approaches, a lot of different entry lines, but just not able to make an impression on Puko in any way, shape or form. Approaching 3 laps to go at this point. It is pretty clear that Hendricks has more confidence than Puko does in the wet, even Puko feeling the need to go defensive there. And now Hendricks is gonna go alongside him, and actually he's after laps of trying, he managed to do it. Now it just remains to be seen if he will be able to pull off this move. Side by side between Hendricks and Puko, they're gonna be side by side, and Hendricks is gonna get pushed off towards the gravel, and he's not gonna be able to be alongside Puko anymore as they head out of 10-12. Now into the final corner. That was a commendable attempt from Alex Hendricks, but Puko defending very robustly and not letting him get a chance. 3 laps to go now. Puko continuing to defend, Puko defending the inside line. Hendricks trying to break him on the outside, once again just not able to do so. And that yellow light The yellow light just flickering on and off. Actually, we have a move. We have a couple of moves. Tilted is losing multiple positions. I don't know if he had a moment that let everyone else attack him. He lost a position to Josh and he was being attacked by Barnas, but he manages to stay ahead, nearly losing the car and almost causing Barnas to lose the car in sympathy behind him. And they are very close to one another. That Ferrari is basically licking the paint on the rear wing of the Aston. Barnas tried to have another look into Scheiblack, but slightly tilted, staying ahead of the Ferrari. Keep in mind that this position is not really gonna change, even if Barnas does make the move, because he's the only person in the field with a 3-second time penalty. We are now 1.5 laps away from the end of this race. Alex Hendricks at the start of the main straight for the penultimate time. He's farther away from Puckle than he was before. It doesn't seem like he will be able to make an impression. We'll just quickly go through, not penalties because that is known, through position changes. We have not had any major movers this race, apart from Ian, but obviously he was out of position compared to his actual pace because he had a quali ban. And then the major loser is Tilted, who has just been overtaken by Barnas, I believe for good this time. And then everyone else only gaining 3 or 2 positions, or losing 2 or 3 positions. This was the final chance for Tom to make a move on Who Am I, and Who Am I just kind of half-heartedly defended the inside. And I think he's got this one in safekeeping right now. Although the home hero is trying his best, but he's losing the rear end. And it's yet another time that Tom Goprof will come up short on the final lap. This happened before in Spain against Tom Eade. This happened last week at Imola against Who Am I, when Tom Goprof had to get in his penalty range. And now he's just gonna fall short again on the final lap. We got Barnes making a move on Welsh Benjamin and getting the move done. Now Tilted is gonna attack Welsh Benjamin as well and make the move himself. Just trying his best to attack as well. Togo Prof is right on the rear wing of Who Am I, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Who Am I, from pole to victory, is gonna be the winner of the Dutch Grand Prix. Fordaroli finishes P2. Everyone else will finish of that order high up, but I'm just gonna look at this battle because these guys are close to one another. Barnes is gonna go on the outside of Josh. He's actually gonna attempt to make this move through a wedge Scheiblack, and he's gone off track. That was a commendable attempt. I mean, he might have as well gone for it. I guess he had a pen. He was gonna lose all these positions that he lost now anyway. For a moment I believe that he could pull that off, but unfortunately not getting the move done. They're still fighting ahead of him now though. Josh on the back of Chichi, who, as I said before, is not feeling well this evening, but he is managing to hold on to P8 for the sugar-free Red Bull. We got a yellow flag on the main straight. That would be because Hendricks has run out of fuel, but he's gonna saunter over the line in P7. And Chichi is defending for P8. Tilted is gonna make a move on Josh. Josh is gonna break letter, try to defend, but Josh is gonna clutter over the inside curb. And Tilted nearly losing the car. Josh nearly losing the car as he tried to get to the inside of Chichi. And I think they're gonna come out in about the same order that they were gonna be in. But Josh is out of fuel! Josh is out of fuel, and Josh loses places at the very end. If only the whole interest period had that kind of racing. But everyone just got lively on the last 2 laps, basically, in the midfield. And that is it. I mean, with no major movers and no major movers and no major comebacks, I think I would have to go with Who Am I for my driver of the day as well, because I was a very controlled drive. Apart from the first piece of cycle, he led every lap and he controlled the entire race after taking pole. Fornaroli follows him in P2, Tommy in P3, Engine in P4, Rapid in P5, Puko in P6, so no changes in the top 6. They got Alex Hendricks gaining 3 places, he's in P7, and Chichi tilted, Ben rounding out the top 10. Josh just about missing out on the top 10 at the end because he ran out of fuel. We got Varnaz in P12, who nearly did a very, very, very bold move on the edge high flag on the last lap. Then we got Ian recovering nicely from a quali ban. Ralphie, Rusty Olkan, Nimra, actually congrats for finishing that race despite all that went against him. Then we got LT who retired on track, which is not allowed, and Spartan who unfortunately got bitched, if I read correctly. That is the race director there. And yeah, I'm gonna go off now. So have a good evening, everyone. And next week we're gonna see you at somewhere. We're gonna see you somewhere. I don't have a clue actually. I usually have a clue, but I had a busy last week with exams, and I kind of forgot the calendar. So catch you later.